"Don't go to him tonight," the woman said, voice trembling. "The house with silver doors and red earth. The man with no shadow. Don't go. Don't go." Welcome to Tales by Steph. A home of interesting African stories. The Port Harcourt air was heavy with heat and noise, thick with the scent of roasted plantains, fresh fish, and car exhaust. It was Thursday, market day, and the streets pulsed with activity. Women bargained in loud voices, children chased each other around muddy corners, and kiki drivers shouted destinations over each other. Diane adjusted her sunglasses and tugged her small Chanel bag closer to her side. She moved through the crowd with the kind of grace that turned heads. Her braids were pulled into a sleek ponytail, her nails painted coral, and her entire presence screamed, "City girl, educated, expensive." She was here to pick up a few things before her dinner with Nonso, the man who had effortlessly slipped into her life just 2 months ago like silk over bare skin. They met at an art exhibition at the Echelon Galleria in GRA. Diane had gone alone, needing something to distract her after a draining week at work. She stood admiring a surrealist painting, thick strokes of red, twisted limbs, shadowed eyes, when a warm voice said beside her, "It's beautiful, isn't it? Chaos frozen in time." Someone captured a nightmare and made it look poetic. She turned. There he was. Nonso. He was tall, at least 6 feet 2 inches, with skin the color of roasted chestnuts and a face that looked like it had been carved with intent. His beard was full and neatly shaped, his eyes dark and steady, holding a kind of quiet intensity. He wore a black mandarin collar shirt, tailored perfectly, and held a glass of red wine like it belonged there. He didn't smile often, but when he did, it was slow, deliberate, like he was calculating its effect. Diane smiled back, intrigued. "You sound like a poet." He shrugged. "I've been told I feel too much. I prefer to think I see clearly." They talked for over an hour, about art, books, power, and the kind of loneliness that money can't fix. He told her he was a private estate developer, specializing in restoring old colonial homes across southern Nigeria. His projects were mostly quiet, elite commissions. When she asked why she'd never heard of him, he chuckled. "Because I don't exist online in the usual ways. I believe some lives are meant to be lived off the grid. It's cleaner that way." He didn't brag. He didn't flirt. He just listened, responded, asked thoughtful questions. Diane was used to men who tried too hard. Nonso didn't try at all, and that made him unforgettable. He didn't ask for her number. He simply handed her a sleek black card with his name, Nonso K, engraved in silver, and the words, "If you ever want to hear how this painting ends, call me." And she did. From that night, he became a consistent presence in her life. They met for tea, then dinner, then a weekend trip to an art fair in Asaba. Every time she peeled back a layer, she found more mystery. By the following week, they were inseparable. Nonso was different from other men she'd dated. He didn't chase clout. He didn't pressure her. He was calm, thoughtful, generous, but reserved, like someone guarding something sacred or broken. Whenever Diane asked about his family or background, he deflected with charm. "I grew up in many places," he'd say. "My roots are complicated." At first, she admired the mystery. It felt romantic. Now, in hindsight, she'd wonder why she didn't push harder for answers. But that day, she wasn't thinking of any of that. She was preparing for their most intimate moment yet. He had invited her to his estate outside the city. "He said it's peaceful, very private," Diane told her friend Amaka on the phone. "I think he's planning something serious." "You sure say you know they rushed this thing?" Amaka teased. "We don't know anything about this guy, oh." Diane laughed. "Relax. I've Googled him. He has a clean record, a house in GRA. The guy is gold." As she hung up, she passed by a small crowd gathered at the edge of the market. A woman sat on the ground, barefoot, muttering to herself. Diane tried to walk past her, but the woman looked up sharply. Their eyes locked. Diane froze. The woman's face was caked with dirt, her clothes torn, but her eyes were piercing like flames behind cracked glass. "You," the woman said, pointing a crooked finger. Diane's breath caught in her throat. "What did you say?" "Don't go to him tonight," the woman said, voice trembling. "The house with silver doors and red earth. The man with no shadow. Don't go! Don't go!" People began to look. Diane stepped back, confused. "How do you know my name?" But the woman only began to wail, clapping her hands. "You'll regret it. Blood will call to blood. His smile hides the grave. Leave him." A woman selling tomatoes hissed. "Ignore her. She's mad. She's always disturbing customers." "Mad people seft donde no names now," another added, chuckling. But Diane didn't laugh. She stood still, heart racing, the woman's words bouncing in her skull. Nonso's house had silver doors, and when they video-chatted once, Diane had asked why the soil outside his compound looked reddish. He had laughed it off. She shook off the chill crawling up her spine. She was an adult. That was just a coincidence. Diane rolled her eyes, muttered nonsense, and walked away. That night, as she slipped into her emerald green gown and dabbed perfume on her neck, she didn't know she was dressing for the most terrifying night of her life. Nonso's car arrived at 6:30 p.m. sharp, a sleek black Mercedes with cream leather seats and a driver who called her Madam with a small bow. The ride out of the city was quiet and smooth. As the buildings thinned out and the trees thickened, Diane finally broke the silence. "Is it far?" "Almost there, madam." She glanced out. The road was turning narrow and quiet. The sky had darkened quickly. When they arrived, Diane stared. The house was tall and old, clearly colonial but well kept. Silver gates, silver double doors, thick hedges on either side. Behind it, red earth stretched toward a tree line. Nonso stood at the entrance, smiling like a painting. He looked handsome. Too handsome. White shirt, black trousers, no shoes. He hugged her gently, kissed her cheek. "You're not wearing shoes?" she asked. He glanced down as if he hadn't noticed, then smiled. "The house doesn't like shoes. It's a family thing. Cleansing, you could say." Diane chuckled awkwardly, but something tightened in her stomach. She tried to brush it off. "City girl," she told herself, "always overthinking." And she stepped inside. The interior was dimly lit, the furniture old but spotless. Strange tribal masks lined the hallway walls. Thick rugs muffled their steps. Diane noticed the large wall clock wasn't ticking. "You live here?" she asked. "I stay here sometimes. It's peaceful." The air inside was cold, almost damp. Something about it felt off. She looked at a painting, dark swirls of red and black, a woman bound in chains. Nonso followed her gaze. "My grandfather collected art." Dinner was set in the next room. 2 seats, candles, old wine. As they ate, Diane asked questions. He deflected most of them. He talked about the future, how he liked her calm energy, how some people were just meant to connect. "I believe in spiritual compatibility," he said. Diane forced a smile. "I guess I do too." But she didn't mean it. Her thoughts drifted back to the woman in the market, her warning, her voice. After dinner, Nonso suggested they explore the house. "There's something I want to show you," he said. He took her hand, but every step further down the hall made her skin crawl. They passed a door with 7 locks. "What's in there?" she asked. "Old things. Storage." His voice was too calm. They stopped at a room with a single red candle burning inside. An ancient wooden chair sat in the middle. Carvings lined the floor around it in chalk. "Come sit," he said. Diane hesitated. "What is this place?" He stepped behind her, placed his hands on her shoulders. His breath was hot against her neck. "I've brought others here before," he whispered. but none of them were like you. She spun around. What are you talking about? The door slammed shut. The candle flickered, and Nonso's eyes weren't his anymore. Diane screamed. She ran to the door, locked. Nonso! She banged on it. What is going on? The room began to hum, low and pulsing, like a drumbeat in her skull. She turned. Nonso stood in the center of the chalk markings, arms stretched out. His eyes were black. His voice was not human. You should not have come here. Her knees buckled. What are you? He grinned. You ever wonder why I never introduced you to my family? Why you've never seen where I came from? Because I'm not from here? Diane backed into the wall, trembling. I need you, Diane. You were chosen. The seventh, the last. The only one who saw the signs but came anyway. He moved closer. My father made a pact. I was born from it. Every 7 years I must renew it with 7 hearts. Each one offered willingly. Each one brought here with love. I never agreed to this. But you came, didn't you? He reached for her. His fingers burned cold. She screamed again, louder. Suddenly the window shattered, wind roared, and in the middle of the storm stood the mad woman, now glowing, eyes white with power. She stepped in, her voice like thunder. Enough! Nonso hissed. You again! I banished you! You killed my daughter, she said, eyes blazing. You think I'd rest? Diane watched in stunned silence as the woman raised a staff. The floor cracked. The chalk circles caught fire. Nonso screamed, a sound not meant for human ears. Run! The woman shouted at Diane. Diane ran. Outside, the night air was thick with fog. The land behind the house was no longer red earth, but a graveyard. 7 mounds, 7 crosses. Diane fell to her knees, crying. The mad woman, no longer mad, walked slowly toward her. You have been spared, she said gently. Diane looked up, shaking. Who are you? I was once like you, smart, proud, blind. My daughter fell for him. She never returned, so I stayed close. I warned every girl he tried to charm, but only you listened. A little. Diane wiped her tears. How did you stop him? I didn't. You did. You entered with doubt. You broke the willing bond. That gave me power to break the circle. She helped Diane up. But your journey is not over. What do you mean? She pointed at the silver doors, now cracked open. Others still roam, like him, wearing skin, smiling sweetly, waiting. Diane shivered. She never returned to the city. She moved back to Lagos, changed her name, told no one about that night. But every weekend she visited markets, bus stops, corners of cities. And when she saw girls with bright eyes and clean smiles walking beside soft-spoken men with perfect teeth, she stepped out. She warned them. And if they laughed, she whispered what the woman told her. Not all mad women are mad. Some are messengers, and some doors should never be opened. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, like, and comment.